Hello everybody. It is time for another top 10 video. Who's excited? Raise your hand. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. This is not kindergarten.
Hey, I'm Annie and this is Why You Should Love Music.
This is going to be another weird one. I try to bounce back and forth between completely arbitrary and somewhat normal. So this is going to be top 10 songs with the sensitive female chord progression. I texted this list to my sister when it was 11. I was like, help me get down to 10. And she was like, I don't know what your requirements are, but why is the title misogynistic? Let me explain. So apparently most people aren't familiar with the titles of chord progressions. Popular, really common chord progressions do have titles. Fun story. So one time my older brother and I were in a writing session. My older brother is a fantastic musician and I love writing with him, I think, more than anyone else. But we were between writing sessions, and so we were doing kind of exercise building and trying to get to know each other's artistic intention behind when we create, because a lot of it is very intuitive and subconscious. You obviously apply a lot of theory, but there are motivations behind layers, and so you kind of help the other person uncover them. So we're bouncing back and forth, and he was asking me, he was like, what is your most common chord progression? Like, if you sit down and you're not paying attention, if you ask a writer, there will tend to be one or two either intervals or progressions that their mind goes to by default, which is just kind of a weird thing that happens usually. Usually it's an intentional decision to switch it up, or just specific intervals or inspirations. But if you have nothing, if you're just on a blank, then your mind tends to default to whatever your thing is. Like on a piano, I default to the key of E flat. I don't know why. It doesn't. That's not the best key for my voice. That's not the easiest for me to play. That's just how I write. But if I'm on a guitar, I default to the key of E, which doesn't make any sense. It's one of my weird quirks. So he's asking me, what's your default chord progression? And I was like, I don't know the name of it. Let me look it up. So I looked it up, and it was the 50s progression. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, what's yours? And he's like, I actually don't know the name of it. And he looked it up, and he was like, and I was like, what, man? He's like, my most used chord progression is the sensitive female chord progression. And then we both laughed and laughed and laughed. So obviously that's a stereotype, and that's not really an apt name for each of these songs. But I was thinking about that again, and it was making me laugh. And I thought that would be a really interesting list, to have songs that all have the same chord progression, and then put them next to each other and see what that sounds like as a playlist. For those of you who are really not into music theory at all, chord progression is like the skeleton of a song. So then you got to add the organs, the muscle, the skin tone. Then you got your fashion, your wardrobe, right? So you dress up a song and it looks completely different, but it kind of has the same skeleton. I don't know if that was a good metaphor or not. So all of these songs have the same skeleton, the same structural movement melodically. They don't have the same melody. This is really hard to explain if you don't understand chord progressions already. Go look it up. It's really a fascinating subject if you're interested. So this was one of the most common chord progressions, but it was so common that in fact I narrowed it down. Generally speaking, you would count a chord progression as the same no matter where it begins on the loop. But I chose to narrow myself a little bit more and go with the sensitive female chord progression specifically has to start on the 6 of the key. So if it's 1, 5, 6, 4, most musicians would consider that to be the same progression, but I didn't include those in this. I narrowed it down to only 6, 4, 1, 5. So here are my top 10 songs with the sensitive female chord progression, which is not a title that I made up or agree with, just letting you know. Number 10, we have Home by Phillips. I'm a guitar player. Of course I love Phillips. He is amazing. All of his songs just naturally feel like home to me. They're so soothing and comforting and wonderful. Of course I love the harmonies on this song in particular. It's fantastic. I just love this song so much. You have a stomping, anthemic, percussive, and then this shining guitar acoustic. It just makes me happy. Number 9, 21 Guns by Green Day. This song is a classic. How could I not include it? Oh, I really had a hard time narrowing this down though, because there are some songs that I didn't include that really should be on the list, to be honest. The steel string of the acoustic guitar really speaks to the sentiment of the song for me. And then of course the electric guitar just comes in and kicks it into the next gear and it takes off and it's insane. By the by, random pet peeve of a military brat. Most people misunderstand what a 21 gun salute is, and most people use it incorrectly. This song uses it correctly. So, go educate yourself if you don't know what a 21 gun salute is and when it's used. It's not used for military funerals. It's a 3-rifle volley and it's completely different. Not at all the same. And if you think that this song is about a military funeral, then you're missing the whole point. I don't think anyone actually thinks that, but I've heard people say that, so it's very distressing to me. Also, a little over 3 minutes into the song, there's like this guitar riff that's pretty iconic, but it gives me mad sitcom feels. It reminds me of like a really, really, really slowed down version of the Full House intro. It's like, everywhere you look. You know what I'm saying? Am I the only one? I'm too old. I'm too old to play this game. 21 Guns, Green Day, fantastic song. Next is Unsteady by Ex-Ambassadors. This song is so simple but so incredibly powerful, and it's just like, feel all the feels. It's just like piano and strings and crying to the universe. It moves me. There's also some sick percussion stuff going on. Little Talks by Monsters and Men. First things first. Horns! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the horns. I love it. I love this song a lot. I love the Monsters and Men a lot. I'm more partial to Beneath the Skin as a full album. There's lots of incredible stuff from My Head as an Animal. I love them so much. I love that they have a male and female vocalist. And this is one of those songs that's more of a conversation song. And I think that that's allowed to become more pronounced since there's both a male and a female vocalist. And I also love that this song seems to be like having a conversation with your own insanity. That makes me giggle with joy, which might indicate some things about me. Cool Kids by Echosmith. This is one of those songs that is tragically both overplayed and underappreciated, which is a little sad, but I still love it with all my heart because the writing on it is just so good. And it has a fabulous mix of being like gritty and sparkly. And the bass line is so iconic but subdued, and overall as a song, I think it walks a really beautiful line between being really unique and creative, but then also being very familiar and kind of simplistic, and I love this song a lot. Hey Brother by Avicii. Fun fact, speaking of brothers, this was my ringtone for both of my brothers every time they called me for like 5 years of my lifetime. I love Avicii. All of his music is always very layered and intentional, and this one, perhaps more than any other song on this list, is very different, and like I feel like he goes the extra mile to diversify, and it feels like all of his creativity is very educated. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. This song is just brilliantly fantastic, and I love the rhythm. I love the time that's allotted to each chord in the progression. I love that it varies. The song is just brilliant. Bleeding Out by Imagine Dragons. Y'all know how much love I have for Imagine Dragons. I actually went back and forth between this song and America because I love them both so much, and it hurt me to pick one because like it depends on the day. So maybe if I made this list later, it would be a different one. I don't know. But ultimately, I went with this one. I love that it starts out with kind of like a small chorus, and then it slowly like builds up, and then by the time the next chorus comes around, it just kind of explodes. It seems like it's just always on an upward trajectory. The backup vocals and the harmonies on this track kill me every single time. I'm just like a recycled ghost at this point, just continually dying and then listening to the music over and over again because I love the pain. I don't know. One thing that I think it's really interesting how layered the topic matter on this is, because I've heard so many different things. I've heard people say it's about faith or religion or love or suicide and self-harm, and I've heard so many different theories, and I think that they all apply beautifully and wonderfully. And to me, that's an excellent sign of fantastic songwriting. If people can look at art and take out of it different things, to me, that's how you know something is really well written. Not just that it makes sense to the artist or in one vein, but where truth meets an intersection, that's when it becomes art. To me. I just made that up and didn't give it a lot of thought, so don't hold me to that if it doesn't make sense later. Outskirts of Paradise by Bad Sons. Listen, this song makes me lose my mind every time I listen to it, so that explains a great portion of my insanity. Let's just blame them. Okay. Rein it in. This song is stupidly wonderful. Like, technically brilliant, genius, fantastic. I don't know, what are some other excellent adjectives to use for this? Like, just the technical ingenuity of this song It kind of makes me start to lose my brain and motor functions, apparently. I just kind of cannot with this. It's too much of a good thing. I don't know, I just love it with my whole heart. This is a song for like mental acrobatics and also to make your heart soar. So that's a pretty fantastic combination. That's why it's so high up on my list. Social by Cardboard Kids. Stop it. So much goodness again. I'm sorry. I get really fired up, but I really, 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 really love these songs so much. Okay. Technically brilliant again. So much depth and dance and fun. Like, it's on the surface. If all you had to look at it was just the surface, it's really fantastically fun, but it's so deep and like layered and meaningful and important. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this song before, probably at length. I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk about it again for a second. This just deals with social issues and maybe social anxiety and social expectations, social stigmas around mental health, and about learning to find hope through hopelessness. And it's absolutely incredibly beautiful, but in a gritty way. It's not in a fluffy, I'm gonna vomit because there's too much cotton candy type of way. It's like, oh, it's beautiful! That didn't make sense. Pretend like that didn't happen. It just like, it punches you in the heart and it's like, that's how beautiful I am. And you're just like, ah, thank you. It punches you in the heart and then you say thank you. That's what this song does, really. The guitar riff is so beautiful. It just speaks to my soul. The dynamics in this song are really subtle and like intentional and so important. The song is just so honest and clever and raw, and those are all the best things about art to me. The number one song, how did we get here? Molecules by Atlas Genius. I happen to have that one out today. I'm so obsessed with this song. I cannot begin to gather the words and package them in a way that I could present to you how beautifully, brilliantly wonderful this piece of art is. I will attempt, I guess. So this song is just a brilliant fusion of philosophical, analytical, scientific ponderings, all packaged in like really technically sound and upbeat, fun, fantastic music. And I don't know, like, the channel is called Why You Should Love Music. I'm supposed to express to you why, but I'm like, in this case, I don't need to express to you why, because listen to that song. That's why you should love music. That is everything good about art, all packaged into one little box in a light bulb and an ice cube in the clouds. That's what the song is. It's fantastically brilliant. And it's all the good things, all the good and confusing things about society. I love it. Okay, that was my list. Let me know what you thought. What would you have put in the list? And tell me how you would have rearranged it, because I don't think anyone's going to agree with me, because it's probably on a different day. I won't agree with me. You guys know me. You know I'm not just going to leave it at 10. I agonized over whittling this down to 10, but there are so many fantastic songs, and this is such a common chord progression. I decided I'm going to leave you with this. Here are some of the songs that share this chord progression that could have been contenders, but did not make it onto the list. Let's go. I'm looking down at my phone to know what song's coming next, and I'm also going to be scrolling while I'm playing, so forgive the jankiness of this. I didn't want to take time to record it because it's not that serious. Here we go.
Doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. Just because it burns doesn't mean you're gonna die. You gotta get up and try. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just gotta, I understand about indecision, but I don't care if I get behind. People live
If you liked and or were entertained by those shenanigans, give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe for more ridiculous music-related content coming at you every week. Don't forget that I love you and you are fantastic, and I hope you're having a great day and listening to some fabulous music. P.S. I forgot to say, the Spotify playlist will be linked in the description, by the way. I love you guys. Goodbye.